Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha Janim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padavadme Tayostritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu Namashri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Sure Satchitsukasvarupaya Swamine Tapaharine वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचानूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. So now we are almost at the end of chapter 2. It's a very, very important chapter, perhaps contains the essence of the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita itself. Particularly the portion which we are presently dealing with, namely the Sita Prajna Lakshana. Extremely important, extremely useful. They have great bearing on our life, how we should live. Because though it's all essentially perhaps an answer to Arjuna's question, मैं दुख से कैसे बचा सकता हूँ? How can I save myself from misery? क्योंकि उनका तो mainly that was Arjuna's problem ना. The dukkha which he was facing, मेरा सब स्वजन सबको मैं हत्या करूं, the sorrow in the heart. So how to overcome that? You're asking me to fight. Supposing I fight and kill all of them, so that will be a terrible sorrow in my heart. And it's a dukkhadak hai, aisa sabko marna. Your acharyas, your elders, and many others in the war. So in essentially the human life consists of misery of various kinds, is it not? It's essentially the life. Life itself means sorrow, suffering, dukkha, largely. बीच बीच में छोटी से कोई लॉलीपॉप मिल जाती है, then we think that oh, life is all wonderful. No, it's not so. After 2 days again, it's back to square one. So essentially, the construct of life, nature, prakriti, everything is like that. It's meant to be. Otherwise, sabto, see, once Sri Ramakrishna said, if the world is true, I would have completely covered Kamarpukur with gold. सोने से मड़ा देता था, if only the world were real. So all that we experience, all that we feel so happy about, all that, they're all of a very temporary nature. So Arjuna's question is essentially to seek an answer. And Sri Krishna said, these are the lakshanas. नैनम चिंदन्ति अस्त्राणि नैनम दहति पावकः जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मत्यो ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मात् अपरिहार्यते न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि. In so many ways he was saying that all these are all unreal. Your own real nature, immortal nature, there is the only reality, that is Atman, that is Brahman, that cannot be destroyed, that cannot be cut to pieces, that cannot be made wet, all those descriptions. So all these, सुनने के लिए तो अच्छा लगता है. They all sound very nice when you hear them. But in reality, what is the condition? Do we really feel that way? Is it a everyday experience for us? How can we translate it into an everyday experience? So obviously, in answer to all that, Sri Krishna says, yes, it's possible. But then there are conditions. Supposing you want to go to moon, you cannot have these kind of clothes, these kind of dress, apparel and go. उसके लिए आपकी अलग ड्रेस चाहिए, बहुत कुछ अलग चाहिए, तब तो जा पाएंगे. You cannot go and say that I will go and eat idli sambar in moon. No. It has its own thing in capsules or maybe injections, in whatever way you have to eat, we don't know. So the conditions are different. So if you want to achieve something, not only that, even in the world, if you want to achieve something, if you want to become somebody, you need success and all that, one has to do very hard work, prepare, follow certain rules, disciplines, etc., then only it is possible, is it not? Otherwise, it doesn't happen. So, in the same way, he says that if you want like this, then these are the conditions. You have to be like this, you have to be like this. This is how a person of steady wisdom acts. ऐसे ही वो व्यवहार करते हैं. So he started with the first sloka in answer to that. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmannevatmana tushtya sita prajnatya docheti. So a person from whom all desires is completely wiped out from the mind. Yada kaman prajahati, sarvan kaman prajahati. Not only that, it's not only the negative aspect of completely removing the desires. See that the mind doesn't remain vacant. Something other it needs always. No? The mind is never totally vacant like that. You remove one, something else. One thought you want to avoid, some other thought comes. Then something else. Because we are restless, we are busy with thousand thoughts, thousand desires, thousand actions, thousand planning, thousand so many things. It goes on and on and on endlessly. So, if you say, yes, all desires are to be removed from the mind, what is the alternative? Where will the mind rest? How will it continue then? How does the individual live if all the desires of the mind are completely wiped out? Then it is said that Atmanneva Atmana Atushtaha Sita Prakyas. On one hand, all desires are completely wiped out from the mind. Then the person is only delighted by being resting in the Atman. Atmanneva Atmana Atushtaha. That is his only desire, only delight, only satisfaction. Then such a person is supposed to have a steady wisdom. So he has step by step he has been elaborating, not only that, following that, what happens, what is the problem, प्रजहाति यथा कामान, इसमें क्या दिक्कत है. Then the next sloka he says, दुःखेषु अनुबुद्विघ्नमना Sukeshu Vigata Spriha Vitaraga Bhayakrodha Sitadir Bunichite. Then that is the next he says. Person who is completely balanced, neither is he completely blown over by any dukkha, nor is he completely overwhelmed by any sukha. Both are dangerous. Sometimes we keep on celebrating excessively, and then that brings the destruction. Neither is he overwhelmed by dukkha, nor is he over rejoicing. Something happens. Why? This is temporary. This will go. Just as dukkha will not stay, that should be the attitude when dukkha comes. Yes, after all, it's a passing phase. Something else will happen. Similarly, sukha also is not going to be there forever. करोड़ों खर्च करके शादी करवाते हैं, बस even before the noise dies down, then the differences start, the fight starts, then फिर मांग है, फिर ही है, किसी को जलाना है, किसी को मारना है. Every day we see. Otherwise also separation, fight, living goes on. So you need not separate. Yes, see, for that matter then will not be any शादी शुदा नहीं होता है. No need, yes. All that can be done, provided there is a restraint. Whatever is to be done, you done. Not with any great expectation, oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. Not that way. Yes, our duty is done. Whatever is to be done in time has to be done. But then, nothing is attached to it by way of huge expectation. All problems come from expectation only, no? This is what it is. I want this. I want this person to behave this way. I want the other person to be like this. I want my wife to be like this, son to be like this, daughter to be like this, husband to be like this, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, mother. Everywhere you go, the problem is because of expectation. We keep on expecting and we keep on suffering. So if you are a balanced person, then you will have less of expectations. Again, expectations are tagged to desires. Where is the expectation? What is the origin? Desires. So first he started with the origin, and then he talks about its effects. The desires transform themselves in the form of sukha and dukkha. Ultimately, whatever the desire that we have, once they are fulfilled, what happens? Either you have sukha or there is a dukkha. Then at the next stage, he is catching us. All right, the mind desires may arise and the fulfillment also might happen. But can you restrain itself at the next stage? Sukha and dukkha, you are not perturbed too much. You are not affected either by sukha or by dukkha. Further, he says, not only that, not only sukha and dukkha, vita raga bhaya krodha. Vita raga, without attachment, without bhaya, without krodha. All these are all attached to expectations, attached to desires. See, he has split up into so many components. The qualities of a Sita Prajna. Overall, first he gives a broad overall picture like one should be completely free from desires. That is the state, highest state, where there is no desire and the person completely rests in the Atman, totally satisfied. That is his only satisfaction because the mind can't be empty. And then when you split it and come down, what is the result of desires, etc.? Sukha and dukkha. There can you show restraint? Can you be equanimous? Neither overjoyed nor suffering too much. आप बहुत आप के भी नहीं हो रहा है, सुख लेकर आप नहीं नाच रहे हैं और दुख से ऐसे विमर्श होता है वो भी नहीं है, दोनों नहीं है. So you are balanced. And then coming down further, what is the further component of all that? Bhaya, Krodha, Raga. When you find something nice, we get terribly attached. Oh, it is mine, it's mine. I purchased from here. My son, my daughter, my this, my, everywhere. Terrible attachment to everything. Although, if you go deeper, you know that you can do nothing. What we say, my, no moment it can become not yours. Everything is like that. The whole world is resting on such flimsy foundations. Can all crash, it can all become zero in no time. Still, we constantly say, my. So, he's attacking at the next level because sukha and dukkha and then desires. Again, they all lead either to raga, attachment, bhaya, or krodha. Why bhaya? Insecurity. What will happen if I die? What will happen if my children don't look after me? What will happen if I lose this job? What will happen if I don't get this? All this bhaya again coming from the desire to hold on to the job. So all these are all components, so to say. Vita, raga, bhaya, krodha, anger. Why? Because it's not fulfilled. When the desire is not fulfilled, there's terrible anger. Oh, it didn't happen. Oh, this person stood in the way. He is to be removed. He is to be killed. I must somehow get over him. So, terrible anger towards anything that is preventing our desires from being achieved, the desired end being achieved. Always fighting for that. That is the krodha, be the raga bhaya krodha. If a person is free from all this, sitadhir muni richate. Such a person is said to be of steady wisdom. Sitadhi. So, one by one is, and the next step is how this can be done. You are seeing all that. One should not have attachment, one should be free from fear, one should be free from krodha, and then one ज़्यादा सुख होने में नाचने नहीं है और दुख होने में ज़्यादा विमर्श नहीं होना है. सब तो ठीक है. And then you say desires, how it is possible? मैं तो चारी तरह देख रहा हूँ, इतनी चीज है. They keep on attracting me. Thousand, million, billion, no end. Anything. Some people have such a wonderful eye. Anything they see, immediately they will see, catch. Because the mind is always so external oriented. When people are there, they will never. Seems read about a great Mahatma. He was going to a Pandit to listen to some exposition on some scripture, Bhagavad. He was supposed to be a very great Pandit. So along with him, his chelas also went to listen. So after listening for several days, one of the chelas say, "Did you see in his room such costly shawls, such costly coats? They're all hanging from hanger." So this Swami says, "Oh, I went there so many days, I never noticed." Because he was busy only listening to the scriptures. But because we are restless, it's a reflection of our own mind. It is full of desires for shawls and coats and all that. That is manifesting outside. Whatever is there, we are immediately catching. So that is why he says, what is the prescription? Yada samharate chayam kurmongani sarvasah indriyani indriyartebhya indriyani indriyartebhya tasya prajna pratishita. You see, just as can you withdraw your senses from objects? Is there a mechanism? आपके अंदर ऐसे कोई बिठाया क्या आप एक कूर्म का this tortoise whenever any danger comes is moving about. Whenever any danger comes, immediately all its limbs including the head, everything is completely inside. Such a strong shell, impenetrable. आप उसकी even with the axe you cannot cut it. So strong, so strong, so strong. In many animals, wild animals, they try to bite this, that, then throw it. Because they can't bite it at all. Nothing is penetrating. What they will do? Throw it and go away. And the tortoise slowly comes out and it starts moving. So what is the idea there? Whenever there is. So do you recognize everything as, first of all, tortoise ऐसे क्यों करते हैं? उसका समझ है ये सब मेरा खतरनाक है. These are all dangers. मैं इस सब पे दूर रहना चाहिए मेरा. I should keep away from all that. That knowledge is there. That is why he is able to withdraw. In our case, we think these are all good for us. All cosmetics, all good dress, all cars, all buildings, all this thing, money, balance, investments, bank, everything is good for us. So we keep, instead of withdrawing, we run after that. Tortoise is withdrawing. हम लोग उसके बाद भाग रहे हैं, दौड़ रहे हैं पकड़ने के लिए. Then how can you be free from desires? So if you want to be prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan, if you want to be vitaraga bhaya krodha, what is the prescription? Like kurma, can you withdraw? कैसे एक्सपीरियंस कैसे हो रहा है? आपका कोई आपकी कितनी भगवान बहुत सारे इंद्रिय दिए, आंख दिया, कान दिया, नाक दिया, सब दिया. जब भी ऐसे कोई आ जाता है, when anything comes, immediately they go and attach themselves to that. ओ ये तो बहुत सुंदर टेबल लैंप है, देखिए मेरा आंख देख लिया, अभी ऐसे कैसे? Then the eye send information to the mind. Mind then refers to the buddhi. हाँ मेरा चाहिए चाहिए, किसी वक्त मेरा चाहिए. मरा नहीं दे तो मैं चोरी कर लूंगा, मैं चुपचाप क्लास की बाद उठा के लिए चले जाऊंगा, पता नहीं चलेगा. सब तो क्लास करने के लिए आए, हमारा तो चेक नहीं करेंगे. So everything is like that. When on the other hand, the moment the mind goes, no, don't look at that side. You have come to hear Gita, close your eyes and listen to Gita. Don't worry. White light, black light, what does it matter? After all, it is light. I don't care. Can you withdraw your mind? Just as tortoise does, if you can withdraw, then tasya prajna pratishtita. Then such a person's that wisdom is steady because it is not affected by anything. Because still there is thousands, innumerable, crores of desirable objects, desirable things. For every sense there are millions. For the आंख के लिए करोड़ों करोड़ है, कान के लिए करोड़ों के, नाक के लिए करोड़ों, कितना people are making whole series of scented oils. कोई फैक्ट्री खुला, क्यों? 15, 20, 25 तरह का विभिन्न प्रकार ऑयल्स है. इसी से वो, इसी से ये गंध आता है, इसी से ये सुगंध आता है, इसी से गंध आता है. सब क्या फायदा है? सेटिस्फाइंग द सेंसेस. हाँ, सूखते रहा उसका, सूखना अच्छा है. So like that you keep on. If you are loving, there's no end. There is innumerable, countless. So the other thing is, the moment it goes, Thakur also always says, when the elephant, when it's going the street, supposing it extends its trunk, then immediately the mahut ऐसा डंडा मारते हैं, तुरंत वो विड्रा कर लेता. So when the indriyas try to go out, can you? No, बेरे मत जाना, रोको. So if you can control, then it's possible. Not only that, then he says, विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते. ऐसा भी इसलिए भी खत्म नहीं होगा. क्यों? बहुत सारी बार हम लोग पहले एक्सपीरियंस कर चुके हैं. ऐसे नहीं ही पहला बार, बहुत बार रसगुल्ला खा लिया, बहुत बार ये खा लिया, वो खा लिया, ये देख लिया, ये पहन लिया, ये भोग कर लिया, बहुत सारे सब मन में, चित्त में सब स्टोर करके बहुत बड़ा भंडार है चित्त. इसमें करोड़ों करोड़ों वृत्तियां सब डिपॉजिट हो गया. जब भी कोई आप एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं, एक चीज बहुत सारे लोग, हम लोग ध्यान नहीं रखते हैं. एक बार कोई कुछ हम किया तो उसका जरूर एक डिपॉजिट होगा ही होगा. नो वन कैन से एक बार मैं देख लिया यार, कुछ भी नहीं है बहुत कुछ है. एंड इट विल कम एट अ टाइम व्हेन यू रियली डोंट वांट इट. अब मान लीजिए ऐसे कुछ देख लिया, देन व्हेन यू सिट फॉर मेडिटेशन और वी आर इन टेम्पल, उस समय आपका चित्त का वो विचलित करेगा. इसलिए कुर्मोंगानी व सर्वस्य, कोई एक्सपीरियंस ही नहीं करे. देखिए ये बोल रहे हैं, आप तो बहुत ही कर लिए, पहले तो बहुत कर चुका है, अभी तो नया नहीं कर रहे हैं, लेकिन आपके अंदर रस भरा है. क्यों? चित्त में इतनी वृत्तियां हैं. देयर आर सो मेनी डिपॉजिट्स ऑफ वृत्तिज इन द माइंड. दे आर ऑलवेज देयर. यू आर नॉट, नाउ यू आर प्रैक्टिसिंग संयम, बट पहले तो कितना कर चुका है. उसके क्या है? निराहारस्य देहिनः, कि आप इंद्रिय की कोई आहार नहीं देते हैं. मान लीजिए आपका कोई, इफ यू डोंट feed yourself, then you become lean and thin and you are not feeding, you become nirahara. आपका तो everything, your weight will go down, you become lean or whatever it is. But then the rasa, that will be there. Rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Only when you experience something higher, this will go. तब तक मन में रहेगा ही रहेगा. It will not go because आंख बंद करके आप बैठे हैं, लेकिन मन ही मन, अरे कितना सुंदर है, कितना सुंदर, जाने में कितना अच्छा होता था. ये भी देते हैं. तो 2 people are going, they were friends. बाद में कोई ऐसा नाच गान कहाँ हो रहा था, ये दोनों विष्णु भक्त थे, वो उसमें घुस गया. दूसरा मंदिर में गया, मंदिर में देखो सोच रहे, अरे मैं क्या बुद्ध हूँ, मेरा मित्र कितना मजा लुट रहा है वो. Like that, even if you don't enjoy now, because of the past experiences, the samskaras that you have developed, is always a rasa in the mind, wanting all that again and again. How all it will go? Param drishtva nivartate. Only if you have any higher experience, when the supreme truth is realized. Supreme truth to ठीक है, at least unless the mind is firmly turned towards something spiritual or transcendental. आपका तो अंत में सब अनुभूतियां मिली तो totally different. If you are a Brahmagya Purush, if you are established in the Atman or Brahman, no problem. But even before that, Can you turn a new leaf? Can we completely become spiritually oriented? आध्यात्मिक दिशा में, आध्यात्मिक जीवन में इतना रुचि बन जाए, मान लीजिए, then there is always an option. आपके सामने डोसा भी रखा है, बहुत बढ़िया, परोठा भी रखा है। पहले आप बहुत डोसा खाते थे, अभी नया परोठा सीख लिया, अरे रे अरे डोसा में अच्छा है, मैं परोठा लेता हूँ. So unless you get something better, you don't give up your past. So unless the mind is completely devoted or turned towards something transcendental or spiritual, जो अध्यात्म में पूरी तरह प्रवेश नहीं कर में, तब तक आप you will be constantly bothered by this rasa. Again and again it will come and haunt you. अरे चले जा, अरे ले ले, एक बार ले ले, और कुछ नहीं, एक बार पी लो, दोबारा नहीं है, ये लास्ट बार चलता रहेगा, जिंदगी भर चलता रहेगा, कभी नहीं छूटी. Why? Because the rasa, every experience brings new rasa, again a new experience. It keeps on adding permanently. It will not go anywhere. So, if it is to be wiped out, even if the rasa has to go, there should be a complete shift to something transcendence. Karte karte, when you realize, supposing you get some spiritual experience, and then ultimately, if you are completely established, parandrishtva nivarte, इसलिए बोल रहे हैं, it is not enough even at that time. ठाकुर बता रहे ना, दो क्या एक से ऐसे ऐसे बहुत कुछ उन्होंने उदाहरण दिया था. was going somewhere and then was a monk, but still he could not avoid looking at somebody. And he said, before becoming a monk, पहले वो गृहस्थ था, इसलिए that idea is still there in his mind. So it was samskaras can be very, very strong and very powerful. So again and again they will pull you back. So the more and more you concentrate on something superior, higher, and the mind is again and again, it's what, whatever is deposited in the chitta, accumulate होके बहुत ऊंचाई तक हो गया. Now if you deposit new good samskaras, अच्छा भगवान की कथा, भगवान की सोच, जप, ध्यान, ऐसा करते 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 पॉजिटिवली और नेगेटिवली वो सब अवॉइड करते करते, जो खतरनाक है, जो आपका चित्त के विचलित करता है, वो सबसे दूर रहते हैं. And then you are positively, you are working towards a new life, a new idea, then these deposits will keep on. पुराने की सब दबाते 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 ऐसा कर देगा, उसका बिल्कुल, it will become absolutely powerless, because it is such a overwhelming deposit of good samskaras. They will completely rub off and kind of wipe out the old samskaras so that they can no longer come back. मान लीजिए आप नीचे कोई चीज रखे, इसके ऊपर आप 100 किताब रख दिया, बिल्कुल नीचे वाला को तो आप बिल्कुल नहीं निकाल सकते हैं, वो तो खत्म है. आपका हिसाब 100 नहीं हटाते हैं और नीचे वाला आपका हाथ नहीं लगा सकते हैं. Like that, even if little samskaras are there, you have deposited so much of good samskaras, they are all powerlessly dying below. They never come up, they never get attracted. And that the highest thing will happen when you are completely established in that supreme idea or you experience the highest truth. And then he says, यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य उपस्थितः इंद्रियाणि प्रमादीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः. Again and again he is warning. You see, the turbulent senses violently draw away of even a discerning person. आप ऐसे कोई, मैं तो अभी जब ध्यान कर रहा हूं, दीक्षा भी ले लिया, हर रोज आश्रम जाता हूं, नॉट इनफ, वो तो ठीक है, फिर भी सावधान, साधु सावधान. साधु मीन्स नॉट ओनली सन्यासी, एवरीबडी whoever is in the spiritual path, never take it easy. कभी भी आपका if you lower your guard, you are gone. एक क्षण में भी आपका ऐसे खींचेगा, कहां ले जाएगा पता नहीं. So he says, the turbulent senses violently. Indriyani pramathini. Haranti prasvam. Pramathini means very powerfully they draw away. Are मैं तो sometimes those who are in the spiritual path, they are stunned. मैं तो मान लीजिए 1 महीने तक कुछ भी नहीं किया, हर रोज जप करता हूँ, हर रोज ध्यान करता हूँ, हर रोज मंदिर में जाता हूँ, अचानक कैसे आ गया ये सोच, कैसे क्यों आया? लाइक दैट पीपल आफ्टर 10 years 15 years 40 साल में 50 साल में कुछ करके बैठते हैं, बिकॉज द इंद्रियास आर सो पावरफुल, दे कैन powerfully, violently, not only powerful. Violence always means terrible disturbance. It's even more than powerful. Powerful is very good. You can resist. But it's violent. मार मार के आपके कोई भगा रहे ऐसा violently, then it's very difficult to resist. That's why no one can say that, oh, I am perfect, मेरा सब हो. ये कहते ना, साधु मरवे उड़वे चाय तब साधु गुण गाय. साधु साहब मर जाए उसको तो हम बाहर दूसरी करते हैं, मिशन में तो जलाते हैं. Once he is burned and then when the ashes fly, then you can say वो अच्छा साधु. तब तक बोलना संभव नहीं. किस क्षण में किसका क्या होगा, nobody knows, because senses are so powerful. आपके अंदर एक 5 6 7 सुपर कंप्यूटर बैठा है भगवान, आंख के रूप में, कान के रूप में, नाक के रूप में, आपकी जिह्वा के रूप में, चर्मा के रूप में, त्वक के रूप में. सो इज ऑल सो पावरफुल, दे कैन सबको उलट पलट कर सकता है. इसलिए डोंट बी careless at any point of time. Always be alert, always be alert. Eternal vigil, they say eternal vigilance is the price for spiritual life. हमेशा सावधान रहना, कभी भी ऐसा कुछ करना. बिकॉज छोटे छोटे चीज से आपका ऐसे होना है. परीक्षित राजा was to die of snake bite. ऐसी कोई जगह वो ले लिए, उसके चारों तरह जल ऐसा, वहां कोई सांप आने की कोई मौका ही नहीं है. How will a serpents come? He is surrounded by so many people. Of course he was a ज्ञानी, वो जानते थे मेरा जाना है, इसलिए अब उसके लिए खुद का तैयारी कर लेते. That is another thing. But you know, he cut a fruit. It was a small worm, and slowly it became very big, and it became a huge serpent, and it bit him, and that's how he died. Our desires and vasanas are like that. Small insect like somewhere, and slowly they become big, assume a huge form, and consume us completely. So unless one is very careful and very vigilant all the time, it can really distract and mislead anyone, however great one may be. What we read in the Puranas and all, Vishwamitra, 1000 साल तपस्या कर रहे, स्नान करने के लिए गया, खत्म. What is that? Was anyone person there? Did anyone do a videograph, anything like that? No need to ask. The whole idea is how senses can overpower you. इसकी उदाहरण की रूप दिया गया. How even a person who is doing tapasya for 1000 years, thinking only about Brahman, suddenly in one glance, completely everything can go. But whereas we keep on seeing, hearing, listening, all kinds of things all the time, whether you want or not, come. किसी को रेस्ट्रेन नहीं है, आपका मन में कुछ नहीं है, लेकिन ऐसे सब घूम रहे हैं समाज में. They are extremely dangerous. So one has to be even more careful, vigilant, if one wants to pursue the path of spiritual life. Then तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्तासीत मत्परः वशे यस्य इंद्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा पश्यति. He says तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य, for controlling all the organ, not allowing them, not giving any concession, and being eternally vigilant. If you do like that, then Yukta asita matparaha. Not only that, if you are totally devoted to God, if because no, again I said that, what will you do after controlling everything? On one hand, earlier he said, Atmaneva Atmanatushta, one can be completely resting in the Atman, or one can be Yukta Asita Matparaha, completely devoted to me. He's giving another option. आपका द्वैत की तरह मन है, you want to be a devotional person, then be completely devoted to me, so that you are not giving any scope for the senses to go here or there. So it's those whose senses are under control. Vasehi yasyendriyani tasya prajnapa. So the whole concept is, the whole idea is how your senses can be under control. Only if they are fully under your control, you can be called a person of steady wisdom or a sthita prajna. Otherwise, you don't qualify. And then he says, again, he gives in a few slokas how they lead you from one to other. Jayate vashayan pumsaha sangaste shupajayate sanga sanjayate kamah kamat krodho vijayate. So again, that's what you don't have to really experience. Just think of that. पहले जो हुआ, अरे वहां घूमने के लिए गया, कितना अच्छा है, कितना अच्छा खिलाया, कितना अच्छा हुआ, सम चिंता, एंड यू गेट अटैच्ड. ओ उसके अभी ना है, अरे अभी चलो, अभी लेना है, अभी जाना है, अभी जाना है. संघा चंद्यायते काम. From their attachment, desire. Then, if it is not fulfilled, then krodha. अरे ऐसा नहीं है, अभी पैसे नहीं है, देखा था पहले कुछ लिया था अच्छा कुछ कपड़ा, अरे अभी, अरे मेरा फिर एक लाके देना. I'm so attached, I like it so much, I want it. Then नहीं नहीं नहीं, ऐसे तो पैसा नहीं है, अगले महीने में होगा, अभी तो कुछ काट लिया लोन फोन के लिए, नहीं नहीं. Then there is a terrible क्रोधा. कामात क्रोधो विजायते क्रोधात भवति सम्मोह. क्रोध से मोह आ जाता है. Sammoha smriti vibramaha. Your smriti, your capacity to know, to understand, that becomes distorted. And buddhinash, उससे आपकी बुद्धिनाश, बुद्धिनाशात pranashti, total distraction. So a small desire somewhere, then that can completely destroy you, because when the discriminative intelligence, you are finished completely. Then Ragad Veshaviktesu Vishayan Indriyesharan Atmavasya Vidhi Atma Prasadamadi. So if a person has Raga Dvesha Abhyukta, is neither attached nor has any hatred for anything. So the Gita always explains before us all the dualities, all the opposites, however they are like that. Ragadvesha Viktesu Vishayan Indriyesharan Atmavasya Videyatma Prasadamadi. And then it contains, he is an Atmavasya, is completely resting in Atman. When his senses under control, then neither attachment, neither attraction nor distraction. A person of disciplined mind, he attains prasadamadi, tranquility. Why? Although he may be. See, once you are like that, once you have, because the question arises, after all, again and again we live only in such, should I give up everything and run away to a forest? क्या कोई केव में जाके खुद का बंद कर लो? कहता नहीं है, क्योंकि आप मन इच्छा से, भोग से भरा है. आप केव में जाके क्या करेंगे? गुहा में कुछ नहीं करेंगे, फालतू है. आंख बंद कर ले तो ध्यान नहीं होता है. बंद करने में क्या ध्यान हो जाता है? नो. बट इफ यू हैव डन ऑल दैट, आपकी वसे ही यस्य इंद्रियानी, आपकी इंद्रिय सब आपके वश में है, कंट्रोल में है. देन वंस यू आर देयर, आप जहां भी चलो कुछ भी नहीं. स्वामी जी एक जगह बोल रहे हैं, when I was young, I could not walk in the streets of Calcutta. क्योंकि इतना उस समय इतना बड़ा बड़ा बिल बोर्ड लगाते थे सिनेमा के लिए. अभी तो सिनेमा के लिए कुछ भी नहीं, सब तो मोबाइल में देख लेते हैं, नेटफ्लिक्स में दे लेते, कुछ भी नहीं, कुछ नहीं लगता है. लेकिन those days people have to go to theaters and all used to be big advertisements, all kinds of. But he was a very serious sadhaka. बोल रही है इसमें I could not even see, but today he was moving in Cairo along with a few Western disciples. Somehow they had by mistake gone to a street which was full of prostitutes. They were all sitting on the doorsteps trying to attract people. So the people who are with him, they were, अरे अभी एक जगह पे ले आया स्वामी जी के. But Swami ji absolutely, he went near one of them and he said, you see, poor beings, they have placed the divinity on their bodies. आपका दिव्यत्व शरीर ऊपर डाल दिया, क्या बेचारा. They were so much touched. They didn't understand. They don't know his language. They touched the hem of his cloth and said, man of God, man of God. ये जो जितने भी बुरा आदमी, खतरनाक आदमी, गंदा भी, उसका भी पता चलेगा ये कौन है. It's not necessary. I may be a worse person, but I will know if I come across a great soul. So they touched the border, hem of his cloth, and said, a man of God. So that was the transformation. Once you are completely established, क्यों? आपके अंदर ही एक सेंसर लगा है. जब भी कोई आ जाता है, कूर्मों की तरह आप सब विड्रॉ कर लेते. इसलिए आप जहां भी आप घूमो, wherever you go, no problem, because you are constantly able to take control of yourself. You are never bothered. इसी बोल रहे हैं, when रागद्वेष विक्तेषु विषयान इंद्रियेश्चरन् आत्मवश्ये विधेयात्मा prasadamadigat is established in such serenity, he attains tranquility, although he may be moving amidst objects of distraction, objects which are capable of attracting you. And then prasade sarva dukkhanam hanihi asya upajayate prasanna chetaso hyasu buddhi paryavatishtate. See, if you get such kind of tranquility, then sarva dukkhanam hanihi. Then only you can really get rid of dukkha. Arjuna's question, how to get rid of this, is idea. It's possible only when you get that kind of supreme tranquility where nothing in the world can disturb you. आप ऐसे स्थिति में पहुंच जाए, that is the person, that is the time when you can be free from all dukkha. Because prasanna chetasu hase buddhi paryavatishtate. Because the intellect of such a person is always steady. Isha chita pragya. Then he says the opposite also. Nasti buddhi rayuktasya nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayatas shantihi ashantasya kutas sukam. If a person of uncontrolled buddhi ayuktasya, if a person has uncontrolled senses, obviously there cannot be nacha bhavayata. How can he have bhavana? Ayuktasya bhavana. Nasti buddhi ayuktasya. Nacha ayuktasya bhavana. If you have uncontrolled senses, and then he cannot have spiritual comprehension. Then nacha bhavayata shanti. If you don't have spiritual comprehension, you obviously you cannot have any meditation. And then for such a person, there cannot be any shanti. Ashantasya kutasukam. If a person is so disturbed, for the unmeditative, there is no peace. And where is happiness for such a person? Because now all our peace, everything would come ultimately from a deep sense of peace, and the happiness would come from peace. Peace would come from meditation. Meditation would come from a deep tranquility, thinking about that. That would come from controlled senses. So he says, if you have uncontrolled senses, gone. You'll have neither higher thoughts, nor will there be peace of mind, nor will there be happiness, because all those things are totally ruled out for such a person. This is what we saw last time. Indriyanam hi chartam yan manonu vidhyate tadasya harti prajnam vayudnahum vambasi. So again he is only saying how a person's that kind of mind will be simply swept away, just as a boat which is being tossed by the wind on the waters. If a person, if he if he gives ways to the indriyas, that's what will happen ultimately. The senses are naturally disposed toward move to the objects. आप सब इंद्रिय की काम ही है ऐसी चीज पर जाना, objects of desire. Indriyas will go to the objects of enjoyment, bhoga. But then, whichever of these senses the mind pursues, आप मान लीजिए कोई इंद्रिय ऐसी पकड़ने के लिए जा रहे हैं, मन भी उसके पीछे पीछे भागे, खत्म. Then the sense carries away that mind. पूरा सिर पे आपकी विचार विवेक सबको उड़ा देगा, and it will completely distort you, just as a ship on a high seas which has no anchor that is being tossed about. So of course we will, when we start again, we will complete this chapter and go to the third chapter, because it's very, I like this chapter and it's very important also. So now we will give a break, because we have series of festivals. Shivratri hai, Thakur Siti Puja hai, then we have our annual celebrations, Dol Purnima, and then of course spiritual retreat also. 3 days Maharaj will come, Sitapriyanji, Sarapriyanji. And we also have a big project in Rishikesh which is engaging our attention. So we'll, after a recess, we'll start again after the retreat, etc. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.